The Reconquista, spanning from 711 to 1492, was not merely a military conflict but a crucible for a melting pot of cultures that shaped the course of European history. This nearly 8-century-long series of battles, sieges and skirmishes on the Iberian Peninsula was more than a simple clash of Christendom against Islam. It was a complex narrative of power, faith and identity that left an indelible mark on the social fabric and cultural landscape of the region. In 711 AD, a Berber force under Muslim commander Tariq ibn Ziyad crossed the Strait of Gibraltar and overthrew the Visigothic Christian kingdom of Hispania, setting the stage for the prolonged period of Islamic rule in much of the peninsula. This event marked the beginning of a series of religious, cultural, and territorial conflicts that would entwine the destinies of Europe and North Africa for centuries. The term Reconquista, meaning reconquest, encapsulates the Christian kingdom's long struggle to reclaim their lands, a mission imbued with religious fervor and zeal. The Reconquista was characterized by its episodic nature, periods of fierce conflict followed by times of coexistence and cultural exchange. It involved a dynamic cast of characters, from hardened warriors and visionary leaders to poets and scholars who contributed to the vibrant tapestry of medieval Iberian culture. Understanding this era requires peering into the myriad motives and actions that drove this extensive period of conflict and cooperation. This protracted conflict not only reshaped the borders, but also the cultural and religious identities of the people in Iberia. It set the stage for the emergence of modern Europe and left a legacy that continues to influence contemporary culture and politics. The Reconquista is a poignant reminder of how deeply the threads of history are woven into the fabric of present-day societies. The invasion of the Iberian Peninsula in 711 AD by Muslim forces was a watershed event that initiated the era of the Reconquista. The fall of the Visigothic king Roderick at the Battle of Guadalete paved the way for the rapid advancement of Muslim forces across the region. Within a short span, the invaders had established control over major cities such as Toledo, Cordoba and Seville, laying the foundations for a new socio-political landscape in Hispania. The initial Muslim conquest was marked by relatively tolerant governance, under which various religious communities, including Christians and Jews, were allowed to practice their faiths in exchange for a tax. This period, known as the era of convivencia or coexistence, saw a flourishing of cultural, scientific and philosophical exchanges among Muslims, Christians and Jews. Such intermingling, however, was punctuated by periods of tension and conflict, setting the stage for the ensuing centuries of strife. Despite the overarching narrative of conquest, the early Muslim rule brought about significant administrative and agricultural developments. The introduction of new crops, irrigation techniques and architectural styles had a lasting impact on the Iberian Peninsula. These contributions, however, were soon overshadowed by rising resistance from Christian factions in the northern territories, which would grow over the centuries into a full-fledged movement aimed at reclaiming lost territories. The Muslim invasion not only altered the political landscape, but also set the tone for the complex inter-religious dynamics that would define the region for the next several centuries. The initial period of Muslim rule demonstrated the potential for coexistence, yet also sowed the seeds of enduring conflict. In the wake of the Muslim invasion, the northern part of the Iberian Peninsula saw the emergence of several Christian kingdoms. These included Asturias, Leon, Castile, Aragon, and Navarre. Initially fragmented and often engaged in internecine warfare, these kingdoms gradually recognized the mutual benefit of alliance against the common Islamic foe. This realization marked the beginning of a slow consolidation of power and territory, which was crucial for the Christian reconquest efforts. The turning point came in the 10th and 11th centuries, when figures such as King Alfonso VI of Leon and Castile began to push back against Muslim territories more assertively. The capture of Toledo in 1085 was a significant victory for the Christian forces, signaling a shift in the balance of power. This event not only enhanced Christian morale, but also attracted military and financial support from other parts of Europe, notably through the Crusader movement. The process of reconquest was punctuated by the establishment of military religious orders, such as the Knights Templar and the Knights Hospitaller, which played a crucial role in both combat and in the repopulation of reclaimed territories. These orders were instrumental in setting up a network of fortresses and settlements that secured the frontier regions and facilitated the expansion of Christian domain. As the Christian kingdoms grew in strength, their internal dynamics also evolved. The Reconquest period was marked by significant developments in military tactics and governance, which were influenced by the need to mobilize and manage diverse populations and resources. The gradual unification of the Christian kingdoms under the banner of the Reconquista was a complex process characterized by political maneuvering and strategic marriages, which eventually led to the formation of the powerful United Spanish Crown. This consolidation of Christian kingdoms was pivotal in altering the strategic landscape of the Iberian Peninsula. It set the stage for more coordinated and effective military campaigns against Muslim-held territories, driving the momentum of the Reconquista forward. Throughout the lengthy duration of the Reconquista, several key battles served as significant turning points, reshaping the political and territorial dynamics on the Iberian Peninsula. One of the most pivotal confrontations was the Battle of Las Navas de Tolosa in 1212. This battle saw a coalition of Christian armies from Castile, Aragon, Navarre, and Portugal decisively defeat the Almohad Muslim forces. The victory at Las Navas de Tolosa marked a major shift in momentum, severely weakening Muslim power in the region and opening up Andalusia to Christian reconquest. Another landmark battle was the Siege of Seville, 1248, led by King Ferdinand III of Castile. The fall of Seville was significant not only because of its strategic and economic importance, but also because it symbolized the waning of Muslim political power in the peninsula. The city's surrender came after a lengthy siege which highlighted the growing sophistication and persistence of Christian military tactics. The capture of Seville not only expanded Christian territories, but also boosted their control over key trade routes and agricultural resources. The Battle of the Salado in 1340 further exemplified the increasingly coordinated efforts among the Christian kingdoms. This battle was crucial in repelling a new wave of North African invaders who had landed in the peninsula to assist the dwindling Nasrid kingdom of Granada. The victory prevented a potential reversal of Christian gains and underscored the growing prowess and unity of the Christian military forces. These battles were not merely military engagements, but were also catalysts for broader social and cultural changes across the peninsula. They altered the balance of power, facilitated the spread of Christian control, and paved the way for the eventual re-Christianization and unification of the Iberian Peninsula. The success of these key battles galvanized the Christian kingdoms, fostering a shared identity and purpose that propelled the Reconquista forward. Section 5. The role of religion, a spiritual battleground. The Reconquista was deeply entwined with religious identity and expression, making it as much a spiritual crusade as a territorial conflict. For the Christian kingdoms, the reconquest was often framed as a divine mission to reclaim lands lost to Muslims. This religious undertone was crucial in mobilizing local populations and garnering support from broader Christendom, including the papacy, which at times offered indulgences and called for crusades to aid the Reconquista. On the Muslim side, the defense of Al-Andalus was infused with its own religious significance. The rulers of the various Muslim dynasties that controlled parts of the peninsula at different times also used religious rhetoric to unify and motivate their subjects. This often included portraying the Christian reconquests as a threat to the Islamic way of life, thereby mobilizing a wide range of resources for war efforts. The interplay between Christian and Muslim forces was not devoid of complexity. Periods of conflict were interspersed with long stretches of peaceful coexistence and cultural exchange. This was evident in the phenomenon of the Mozarabs, Christians living under Muslim rule who adopted many Arabic customs, language and practices, yet maintained their Christian faith. Similarly, there were instances of Muslims under Christian rule, known as Mudejars, who were allowed to retain their cultural practices and religious observance. The religious landscape during the Reconquista was a tapestry of conflict, coexistence and conversion, reflecting the deep entanglement of faith and politics. Religious institutions played pivotal roles, not only in justifying and supporting the conflict, but also in shaping the social and cultural contours of Reconquista society. The impact of religious motivations and justifications for warfare during this period left a lasting legacy on the Iberian religious and cultural landscape, influencing the development of Spanish identity and church-state relations in the centuries to follow. Section 6, Cultural Synthesis, the blending of civilizations. The prolonged period of the Reconquista led to significant cultural interactions and exchanges among Muslims, Christians, and Jews in the Iberian Peninsula. This fusion of ideas and traditions, often referred to as the convivencia, resulted in a unique cultural and intellectual flowering that had an enduring impact on European history. The sharing of knowledge across religious and cultural lines particularly flourished in cities like Cordoba, Toledo, and Seville, where scholars translated works from Arabic and Hebrew into Latin, thus preserving and disseminating ancient philosophical and scientific texts. The architectural legacy of the Reconquista is another testament to the cultural synthesis that characterized the period. Islamic architectural styles, such as horseshoe arches and arabesque decoration, were integrated into Christian buildings, giving rise to the Mudéjar style. This architectural style is visible in many churches, palaces, and fortresses across Spain today, and stands as a symbol of the intertwined histories of the region's different religious communities. Moreover, the Reconquista period witnessed the evolution of new forms of literature and music that blended elements from different cultures. The development of the troubadour tradition in poetry, which combined Arabic, Hebrew, and Latin influences, is one such example. These artistic expressions not only mirrored the complex cultural realities of the time, but also contributed to a broader European Renaissance in arts and letters during the medieval period. The blending of civilizations during the Reconquista went beyond mere coexistence. It fostered a hybrid culture that, while often born of conflict, led to significant cultural and intellectual advancements. This period demonstrated the potential for cultural and religious diversity to contribute to societal enrichment, even in times of strife. The legacy of this cultural synthesis continues to influence modern Spanish culture and is celebrated as a pivotal era in the formation of a distinctively Spanish cultural identity. Section 7. Economics of War, the material impact of the Reconquista. The economic implications of the Reconquista were profound, affecting the development of the Iberian Peninsula in various ways. The constant state of warfare necessitated significant expenditure on military endeavors, which had both draining and stimulating effects on the local economies. The need for weapons, armor, and supplies boosted local industries related to metallurgy and textiles, while the destruction wrought by the conflicts often devastated agricultural outputs and trade routes, leading to economic instability. The shifting control of territories between Muslims and Christians also had significant economic repercussions. Areas taken over by Christian forces often saw a redistribution of land, typically from Muslim to Christian hands, which altered the agricultural landscape. Christians reintroduced feudal systems, which had different implications for agricultural productivity and social organization compared to the land systems under Muslim rule. Moreover, the Reconquista impacted trade within the peninsula and with the rest of Europe. The control of key cities and ports, such as Seville and Valencia, shifted between Muslims and Christians, influencing trade routes and economic alliances. The fall of these cities into Christian hands often meant an increased integration into European economic systems and a shift away from the North African and Eastern Mediterranean trade networks. The economic transformations during the Reconquista also led to demographic shifts, with the displacement of populations, Muslims, Jews, and even Christians, who fled the instability or were expelled during various phases of the conflict. This not only altered the human geography, but also the economic dynamics of the region, as these populations took their skills, trades, and cultural practices with them, influencing other parts of Spain and beyond. The economic landscape of the Reconquista was marked by both opportunity and upheaval. The redistribution of resources and the integration of the peninsula into the broader European economy were processes that left lasting marks on the economic structures of Spain. The conflict set the stage for future economic developments and challenges in the post-Reconquista era. Section 8, Significant Figures, Heroes and Villains of the Era. The narrative of the Reconquista is populated by a host of significant figures whose actions and legacies have shaped the historical memory of the period. One of the most iconic figures is El Cid, Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, a mercenary leader whose life straddled the complex divide between Christian and Muslim allegiances. His exploits, as portrayed in the epic poem El Cantar de Mio Cid, highlight the nuanced loyalties and personal valor so characteristic of the era. On the Muslim side, figures such as Abd al-Rahman III, who established the independent Caliphate of Córdoba, stand out. His reign marked a period of significant cultural, economic and political achievement in Al-Andalus. Under his leadership, Córdoba became one of the most sophisticated cities in Europe, renowned for its scholars, libraries and magnificent architecture, such as the Great Mosque of Córdoba. The Reconquista also had its share of less admirable figures whose actions contributed to the era's darker episodes. For instance, the Almohads, a North African Muslim dynasty, were known for their religious intolerance and played a significant role in the persecution of both Christians and Jews. Similarly, on the Christian side, the establishment of the Spanish Inquisition in 1478, which aimed to enforce Catholic orthodoxy, marked a period of repression and intolerance, particularly against Jews and Muslims. These figures, both heroic and villainous, not only shaped the military and political landscapes of their time, but also influenced the cultural and religious developments that were part of the Reconquista. Their legacies are a testament to the complex human dimensions of this lengthy period of conflict, characterized by both high ideals and profound contradictions. Section 9, The Fall of Granada and the End of the Reconquista, 1492. The culmination of the Reconquista came with the fall of Granada in 1492, the last Muslim stronghold on the Iberian Peninsula. This event marked the end of 781 years of intermittent conflict and the beginning of Spain as a unified Christian kingdom under the Catholic monarchs, Ferdinand II of Aragon and Isabella I of Castile. The surrender of Granada was not just a military victory, but also a symbolic assertion of Christian dominance, coinciding with other pivotal events in 1492, such as the issuance of the Alhambra Decree, which expelled Jews from Spain, and the funding of Christopher Columbus's voyage to the New World. The Reconquista's conclusion set the stage for the Spanish Inquisition, an institution aimed at consolidating religious orthodoxy in the newly unified kingdom. This period saw the forced conversions and expulsions of thousands of Jews and Muslims, which, while intending to create religious uniformity, also led to significant cultural and economic losses. The demographic changes brought about by these expulsions affected various aspects of Spanish society, from the arts to commerce. The legacy of the Reconquista, particularly its conclusion, is a topic of ongoing debate and reflection in Spain. On one hand, it is celebrated for having forged a unified Spanish identity and for setting the stage for Spain's golden age of global exploration and empire building. On the other hand, it is also a reminder of the perils of religious and ethnic intolerance. The fall of Granada thus serves as a complex symbol of both achievement and loss, reflecting the intricate tapestry of human endeavors and aspirations that shaped the Reconquista. The end of the Reconquista marked a significant turning point, not only in Spanish history but also in European and global contexts. It reflected the changing dynamics of power, religion and culture that would continue to influence the development of the modern world. As Section 10, Conclusion, The Legacy of the Reconquista. The Reconquista, spanning over 7 centuries, was more than just a series of military campaigns. It was a formative period that significantly shaped the cultural, social and political landscapes of modern Europe. The conflict and cooperation between Muslims, Christians and Jews during this era left a rich legacy of cultural synthesis, despite the overarching narrative of conflict. This period highlighted the complexities of human interaction, where warfare coexisted with periods of peaceful coexistence and mutual enrichment. Today, the legacy of the Reconquista can be seen in the rich cultural tapestry of Spain, from its language and architecture to its legal and social systems. The period's influence extends beyond Spain, affecting European and Mediterranean history through the spread of ideas, people, and technologies. Moreover, the Reconquista has provided a historical backdrop for contemporary discussions on tolerance, coexistence, and the integration of diverse cultural and religious communities.